Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalrin, and I'm still getting used to my new table setup. I'll tweet you guys a picture to show you exactly what it looks like. I am so confused. I'm trying to reach for a mic on the left, but it's on the right. But anyway, besides the point on my new setup, just kind of want to show it off. Blizzard stat changes for 7.1.5. Now, Blizzard is doing something weird in terms of stats, and this is way more relevant if you do any kind of PvE content. Or if you ever do any kind of PvE progression, learn a rotation, getting good at DPS, or maybe a little bit of healing, a little bit of tanking, Blizzard is doing some big changes in 7.1.5. And what we've gained so much stats from gear over the short time that we've been in Legion so far, that we gain a progression worth of gear to the point where most of us are hitting as hard as we would towards the final stages of an expansion. That's right, apparently, since Legion has been around for only a few months, some players are actually doing the DPS they normally would be doing towards the end of the expansion. If you look at like Warlord's General and where we started, and then like percentage comparison damage to the damage by the time Warlord's General ended, or Pandaria, or Cataclysm, we are doing similar thing in Legion, but right now. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the biggest changes Blizzard's doing for patch 7.1.5 to remedy this, so players still have a feeling of progression in the future, so we have longevity for Legion. As we get more content, we get better gear, we get even more progression of characters, so we can kind of tone this down and not ruin this whole good system that we have. Secondary stats is what Blizzard is saying is where the issue is in currently. If you're somebody who does raiding or Mythic Plus dungeons and you're always looking for better gear, you have come into situations where even though you might have two rings, right? You have an 840 ring with literally the best stats for you, and then you have a 850 item level ring. But let's say you're a rogue and the 850 item level ring, which is the high item level, gives you a ton of haste for whatever reason. You're actually going to opt out from going for the higher item level piece of gear for a lower item level piece of gear because of the better stats, because the secondary stats are that much stronger. So what Blizzard wants to do with this whole system, so that we still have progression and longevity for the game, is to tone down secondary stats. So now it'll take a little bit extra more points to put into haste, crit, versatility, mastery, in order just to get 1% into that stat. So if you're currently looking live versus PTR, the number differences in terms of your crit, your mastery, your versatility, especially crit is your melee, because all melee got gutted a 5% crit in order to slow down the gameplay a little bit. But in turn, what they're going to do is increase your primary stat and the effectiveness of those primary stats. So intellect, stamina, agility, strength will do a lot more good for your class than a little bit extra crit, or a little bit extra versatility, or a little bit extra of any secondary stat. Before we go on and you want to hear more about exactly how this system is going to function in greater detail, please check out Preach Gaming's video that goes into a much more detailed explanation of this new system. But my video will be doing a quick TLDR, my thoughts, and what I think this is going to be doing to the game. So let's get right to it. So what is this change going to do to the game? There's going to be less emphasis on breakpoints for secondary stats. If you are some of these classes, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you don't, then some classes have certain points in terms of haste, mastery, even versatility that they have to reach with gear in order to make the most out of their damage. For example, Windwalker monks have to get so much versatility and mastery, Fear warriors have to stack a certain point of haste, and Assassination rogues have to get the crit to a certain extent where it needs to be in order to be able to perform at your most optimal. Like for example, Assassination is probably the best example since I'm fairly familiar with it. Assassination rogues need to have a certain amount of crit, as close to 50% as possible. Some get as high as 46, and they get trinkets that stack some extra crit. You want to get as much crit as possible, almost towards 50% range, in order to get more combo point generation. Assassination works off of this. You only have one ability in order to generate combo points off of a single target, and if that ability crits and has potential to crit like twice because it's a two-part attack, you can generate more combo points. That means you're bringing in more damage. That means you're able to keep up with your damage and rotation. You're able to sink a lot more combo points into finishers. You're able to maintain your dots much easier. So you are literally given more breathing room and more flexibility in your rotation, because you have a little bit higher chance that you'll be able to get more combo points per single global. It's a different story whether you press an ability and get 2 combo points where you're looking for all 6, or when you press a ability in a global and you get 4 combo points. So 2 on 4, you get a bit different value. You have one Spec Rogue that's better geared and better statted, that's doing more damage than the other, and the playstyle ends up being a little bit less spammy and more calculative because you have a little bit of this levy to, you are more likely to get a crit, so you're more likely to predict how your rotation will go, so you can plan it out and deal effectively more damage. So with that being said, with this new change, an Assassination Rogue is going to generate less combo points, resulting in slower gameplay, but your damage should not change drastically. Currently, with some gear, the lower item level is an actually increase of DPS, as we talked about it before, like the ring scenario, 840 ring to 850 ring. But with the way that they changed it for 7.1.5, is going to look like the item level will actually be better than the secondary stats. So if you currently have some gear that you maybe stored in your bags or your bank, and it has higher item level gear, or you might have sold it recently after doing a Mythic plus 12 and you got a good piece, but it has crap stats, you might want to do item recovery through Blizzard and be able to get that item back for yourself. So it looks like 7.1.5 is going to focus on having a higher item level in general for your character. So if you can get the gear with the highest item level, that'll probably be the best indicative in terms of deciding how much DPS, healing, or how good of a tank you are in the game. Real quick, for anybody who has been PvPing and you are wondering if this is going to change your stats for PvP, in a way, Blizzard is increasing the functionality and effectiveness of your main stats, just by a little bit, enough to make it worth PvE. But for PvP, what they did is they adjusted the extra stats for your haste, versatility, mastery, crit, in order to match up the original numbers, because it takes more points to get a percent, and they actually increase how much percentage you have of all those stats. So I guess in PvP we'll be hitting slightly harder, but I don't think it'll be changing that much. I think this is primarily a PvE change, so PvPers, don't worry, your stat templates are for the most part going to be fine and are adjusted accordingly to your item level, to how much stats you generate, to all that jazz. So for the most part, this isn't a PvP thing to worry about, as far as I am to understand. You know, Blizzard could turn this around on us. This is more of a PvE change, and I feel like what this is effectively doing is trying to slow down the gameplay. And Blizzard kind of made an expansion where you're able to excel on a single character, or many characters. You can excel as far as you want to. They made Mythic Plus, which have an exponential value. You can literally keep doing Mythic Plus, which the same dungeons just get harder and harder every time for better gear. I think last time I've seen somebody do a Mythic Plus, maybe it was 15, which is an insane amount. And what if somebody could do 20, 25, 30? We don't really know where this number ends, to be honest. And then we have raid tiers that are coming out, and the mythic version of the raid tiers. What is going to be the item level? Is the item level of legendaries going to be increased, or is 910 on like a halfway point, or is that the end point? Is that just the beginning? We don't really know. So I feel like this expansion has been the one where players are able to take advantage and control, and players that are really good at the game, that are really good at DPS and healing or tanking, are able to take advantage of the expansion and gain a lot of progress, which is awesome. Players love progress, and players love being rewarded for being great at the game, no matter what you are doing, whether you PvE or PvP. But I feel like maybe we're going a little bit too fast with this, and one of the things that this system is going to do initially is slow down everyone's gameplay. We're going to have Shadow Priests and Mages coming in, and Mages, like Fire, aren't going to be critting as much as they used to. But their DPS is still going to be there, but they're going to feel like they're slow or nerfed in some way. But their numbers are going to be phenomenal. Same thing for Shadow Priests. Hell, same thing for Fury Warriors that have a haste break cap and Assassination Rogues. Assassin is going to feel like, wow, I'm actually very slow at generating combo points. This takes forever. But my damage is fairly similar to what it was. Maybe a little bit high, maybe a little bit lower, you know, give or take. But this is just a weird change. I'm not really sure how I'm going to take it up. Right now I'm just on PTR, just hanging out, playing around different builds. As far as I know, Outlaw doesn't really feel any different because it doesn't have any haste, versatility, crit, breakpoints, as far as I am to understand. I could be wrong on that one. I'm just trying out different builds and seeing what works, and I feel like my spec isn't really going to feel all that different, especially that I'm getting to try all these changes on the PTR. But a lot of players, like, once the patch drops, are gonna feel weird, and if they don't watch YouTube videos, they're probably gonna be like, huh, I wonder what the hell happened to my class. Did I get nerfed? I don't crit as often. I mean, my damage is okay, but I don't crit. Did Blizzard nerf the design? People are gonna feel nerfed. People are gonna feel a little weird. So I'm not quite sure what these changes are. I'm still not sure what to think of them. I think it's a right direction, but I felt that maybe a reforging system would have been a better option, because then we'd be able to take same item level piece of gear but just reforge away out of haste. I thought that, you know, that might fix it, but maybe there's just a bigger issue that maybe we're just going so far into the Legion expansion so quickly, and this train just doesn't have any brakes, and maybe some players will be able to meet the end game before the actual end game is here. So I feel like that might be the initial issue. So I feel like this is something that Blizzard just can't really go back on. It's kind of like you already started the fire and it's just gonna keep burning until people are gonna burn themselves out. But I'm not sure what really to think about it. Just a lot of thoughts in the air. But what do you guys think about it in the comments below? Please let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the discussion. I'd love to hear all of you guys' comments. What do you think about the changes to gear and the stats, and how do you think this is going to affect the game, and even how is it going to affect your character, whatever class you play. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know everything in the comments below, and I'll see all of you in the next one. I got finals to take, so I'm almost done with the semester. I'm super happy for Christmas to be coming around, and happy to have a little bit extra time on my hands right after these tests are over. Thank you guys. I'll see all of you later.